ballot box stuffing in the South and the Southeast, logistics, PVC distribution, and voting wherever you are. And everybody has said, yes, the election can be said to be relatively good, free, and fair, except one of our guests who says, no way, it's been horrible. Those are his words. But in your view, how would you rate the elections that have just been concluded?
Yeah, thanks for having me on your show. I believe that the jury is out there. I have listened to the commentators in the studio. I appreciate their frankness and sincerity. And their perception and their views are also very legitimate. I listen to the jury out there, and I think that it is a consensus that, yes, we have much to do yet, but we have come very long way. And I think that enough is encouraging.
Yeah, Mr. Odo, I'd like your comment about, in fact, not your comment. I want to know how it is that underage children, or underage citizens, were able to obtain PVCs and vote.
Alara, I think that's excellent. That's an excellent question. I've had the contributions by the panelists in the studio, and I think that generally they seem to be talking about this challenge as a systemic issue, even though they are addressing it to INEc. It is a systemic challenge, and it is not within the remit of INEc alone to address it. And I'll tell you why. Underage people, where they get registered, there is a 98% chance that they are registered on the basis of community conspiracy, because we post officials who are not residents, they are not from the communities, to certain communities, and the communities will say, if you don't register these children, we will harm you. If you are there, what will you do? So we've had reports. Of course, when they come back, they will report to us that this is what happened, but they didn't have a choice there. Otherwise, they could be harmed. Now, when that happens, the only option we had was in distribution, because there's no software, except one will appreciate your sharing it with INEc, but there's no software that we have seen that by looking at the biometric data can identify this to be underaged. So the option we have is visual checking. And what INEc has done again is, when you have millions, tens of millions of cards to do, we try to do manual checking and hold down some cards that we suspect belong to underage persons. That's why we kept saying that there can never be 100% collection of cards. Many people had issues with that. But we knew what we were saying when the commission said there can never be 100% collection of PVCs. Because the commission held on to some PVCs to say, well, we suspect this to be underaged. When you come, you bring a proof that as at the time you register, you were 18 years old before you have that card released to you. Well, that again is a procedure that you can guarantee 100%. So that goes to the next stage at the polling unit environment. Now, at the polling unit environment, again, I've had the panelists who put forward some narratives, and interestingly, none of them has been able to be specific about a particular polling unit where the scenario was observed. Now, I am not saying it didn't happen. Please hear me, understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: that's part of the systemic challenge we have. People come up with narratives. As a matter of fact, they come up with anecdotes, not with incident reports. They come up with anecdotes of, yes, we observed that in one region of the country, there was some underage voting. I wonder how that helps anybody. What helps is incident report where somebody gets to a polling unit, he sees an underage voter on the queue. If nobody in the community challenges that underage voter, we have party agents in that polling unit, we have observers in that polling unit. Any of them can draw attention of the presiding officer to the fact that there's an underage voter on the queue. If the presiding officer does not act, then they can make an incident report to the commission. But I've never had anybody who said, I got to a polling unit, I saw an underage voter, I reported to your presiding officer, he or she did nothing about it, and I'm making an incident report to you. I've not had that. All I've had is anecdotes. These things are systemic issues, and from all that has been said there, I've really not seen anybody making a contribution to how it can be addressed. And I think we should think through it collectively and see how do we get communities to be stakeholders. How do we get other players in the political process to be stakeholders in dealing with this challenge?
Thank you, Mr. Idowu. We're running out of time now, but I'd like to say that, I mean, if I saw a young man that's under 18 years old, I think I'd be able to tell between an 18-year-old and a 12 or 13-year-old. Because, I mean, their faces are, you can see youth in the face of a boy of 13 or a girl of 13, as opposed to a man or a young man of 18. But we've run out of time, so I'd just like to take your last word on this. So what is the way forward? If the elections of 2015 have come and gone, we're looking forward to 2019. So what should we be doing towards making the next elections world-class? Sir?
Yeah, what we should be doing, I believe, draws slightly from contributions that have been made there.
Sorry?
A lot of systemic issues have been raised.
Mr. Idowu, if you could just hold on for... Just hold on for a second. We'll get back to you, Mr. Idowu. Let's hear from Mr. Onwudiwe here, then we'll come back to you.
Yeah, my immediate feeling will be for this government that is coming in, and I pray sincerely. There is something I have keep on saying anytime I have the opportunity. The most important imperative in human development is the mindset factor. The mindset factor. There was a reason why the National Orientation Agency was set up. For heaven's sake, that place has to be working seriously. First of all...
I did say in one sentence, didn't I? Your last word in one sentence.
Dr. George.
Reorientation.
Okay.
Well, mine is not just a word. I want to quickly, you didn't mention this, I know we don't have no time. We've had an unfortunate and unprecedented interference by foreign countries in the electoral process. We shouldn't allow that. We must not allow foreign interference in the electoral process. We've had, during these elections, an astonishing level of interference I had never seen in my adulthood. We've had diplomats who organize press conferences, who monitor elections, who go to collation centers, who organize anti-violence crusades. You can't imagine the extent of foreign interference that we have. And I think that in the final analysis, this is an election for Nigerians and by Nigerians and for Nigerians. Okay. And we should make sure that we don't have we don't permit going forward the kind of external interference that we've seen over the past 2 weeks.
Our democratic experience is a journey, and I think we're doing pretty well along that journey. Of course, there are pitfalls, there are issues, there are challenges. A great deal of public enlightenment is required. People need to get up and do their jobs. There's need for sensitization at different levels, and so on and so on. Just like in every aspect of our lives, there's always room for improvement. But I think we're making some progress and can only get better.
Thank you very much. Mr. Idowu, I understand that you're remaining with us through the next segment as well, but still I'd like to thank you for being with us for this segment, as well as to say thank you to the President of the Public Relations Consultants Association of Nigeria, PRCAN, Mr. John Ehigweze, Dr. Austin Tam George, who's Executive Director, Institute of Communications and Corporate Studies, and he used to be a lecturer at the University of Cape Town as well.
Thanks for having me.
As well as Mr. Oscar Owundiwe, a social commentator. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming to share your insights with us this morning. Sunrise will return in just a moment with yet another interesting conversation. Please join us.
I go always pray for you. Make the grace of